Alright, welcome to, well, let's call it a quick tip, a short video, short compared to what I usually make. This is mainly the new input system and Malbers Animal Controller. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've seen the question before, and I have a Steam game called Egg Bunny 2, and I'm rebuilding it. Easter is coming up. We want to make a version 2 available and update the existing game. And in that, I'm changing the entire player controller from what it was a different controller I used before, to entirely be running on Malbers. Also changing from the old input system to the new. There's no reason for that for the play experience. I would say the main reason is for my own experience and do some practical exercises with it. So, on screen I got a empty scene, new scene, and just hit save for a second. I just pulled in one of Malbers animals from the, what's it called, the forest pack. You can see down here, this one is the moose. And if I hit play, it should just work. Of course, the camera is not aligned, so let's take the camera and align with view. There we go. So you can see we can control, jump, hit, nice. So it's working. That's really all we wanted to confirm. Let's put it a bit closer. Align with view. There we go. So you can see we can control, we can run. Yes. Nice. It's working. Okay. So when we look at this moose, we can also, let's just unpack it completely. I don't want to overwrite the package. So if I make it into prefab, I make it into a new prefab. We have the actions over here on the right using the old input system from Malbers. But let's say I want to include something more. If you go down below the Malbers input, there is this script called animal. It's actually called M animal. And under modes, we have this one called action mode. When you click it, you can see it pops up over in the list with these actions, or modes really. The action mode allows us to use these abilities like eat, drink, sleep, and lie down. So when we trigger an action mode with one of these IDs, it will run the animation, of course. At the same time, while we're doing that, we could of course do some actions. However, if I let's say we want to implement sleep or lie down for a time skip or whatever we want, using the new animation system. The way I do it might not be the right way, might just be some way. So first of all, I will add a component to, well, it can be anywhere really, it just needs to be active. You can see player input. This is from the input system. And then I will use this one, player input. It pops up on the other screen. Here we go. And you can see we have these functions. So let's just say we will add a new one. Let's call this one sleep. Let's add a binding. 2 seconds. I will make bindings for both keyboard and a controller. So let me plug this one in. See what happens. Let's see. Sometimes Streamlabs go crazy when I plug something in. There we go. And it's on. Let's just, yes, it opens overlay. Good. So it's working. Put it aside. Let's put a new binding. And first I'll put on a binding for keyboard. Let's put in PSP. Pause. Right. I'm gonna check the keyboard and mouse. I'm gonna add another binding. This time I want a binding for my controller. So I take my controller and let's say I want to use blue or X. So I hit this and it shows me button, vest, yes, gamepad. Good. Done. I hit save. and I close this. Then I go back to my animal, and you can see it's set up to switch scheme automatically. That's fine. Auto switch, yes. And then where it says send messages, I'm gonna switch it to Unity events. I'm gonna unfold the events, unfold the player, and I'm just gonna find the one we just created. Let it load. So here we go, we got a Unity event called sleep based on the name we put in the controller before. So normally I would just hit this, I will put in the moose, and then on Malbers Animal, based on this animal controller, you can see it in the guide. If we make it big, you can see by input, by code, how to activate these, right? And the one we're looking at is activating methods. So let's see, mode activate. This is what we want. So first it wants a mode ID and then a ability index. Okay. If I look at the animal, I can see my mode index is this one, it's 4, and the action I want to run is 6. This is important to remember. Also the naming. So this one was called mode activate. You can see there's actually several. I don't know, there's 3 of the same. We have it here, so we go to M animal, scroll down to mode activate. Here we go. You can see it takes a int or a mode ID. Well, that's no good for us because we also need to input the ability. So I'm not sure if you can do a activate and then ability enable. So the way I worked around it in my setup was I made a small script. I think we will actually make a new script today just to show you. So let's just go to the scene, script, new script today. Open it. It is loading on the other screen. Give it a second. Just started up Unity on the computer, so always the first time you start up it will take some time because it's actually trying to look through the project, see what's connected. There we go. So we got a new, and of course the first thing I want to do is be using Malbers animations. I'm gonna delete these. Public serial. Oh, hang on. You can see when it's not recognizing, that means intelligence is not ready. Serialized field. What's it called? M animal. This animal. And then we want to serialize field int mode id. Serialize field int ability id. Then we want a public void to interact with this, and this will be, you can see now it's coloring slowly. Yeah, M animal. We'll figure it out in a second. Public void, run this event now. That means I also want to be using Unity engine events. Let's see, M animal. It was correct. this animal. Good. When I'm running this, it's because we're going to call this script from the events from the player input using the new input system directly interface into the animal. So basically you can consider this a mini API. We will attach the script to the animal just below where we have the player input, and then we'll connect the animal to this. So actually we could do something to save us work. On enable this animal email game object, no, small game object. Sometimes I really, yes, this, good. Now we don't have to connect it or drag in the animal component, it will find it. Probably be better to use a try get component, because in some cases if the script is attached wrong or you do something, it will throw you a null error saying something like exception, this is not connected or some bullshit like that. But of course I don't make mistakes, so it's just working. And of course to run this as an event, we'll be running this from an event, so actually we don't need to have events here. Oh yeah, the reason I want to add events is because if we want to do something additionally, like speed up game time or whatever might be, we want to have this happen at the same time. So Unity event do this also. Oh, there we go. So when this script is triggered, or this class called run this event now, then we will invoke the Unity event system, do this now, or also invoke, and we'll invoke the animal, this animal. And if we just look at the API again, it's called mode activate, mode ID, and ability. Mode activate, mode ID, ability ID. There we go. That means now we are able to run some events, make something happen in the world. At the same time, the animal will initialize this animation. So that's all we need to do for the script. Where's the animal? It's right here. So let's just remember the numbers. So the mode is action mode 4, and then we can find the abilities. Here we go, and we want to sleep, so that's 6. So 4, 6, that's what we need to know. So I'm just gonna drag this new script over and say mode 4, 6. And here we have the events, so here we could perhaps set the game time to a different speed or something like that. What can we do to display the event? We can call a different class in the same script. Public void, this is a different class in the same script. And this class takes a string message. Debug log underscore message. There we go. Close that. There we go. So if I hit add a event, we can add the same script as, and you can see we have this nice name. This is a string message. At the same time, when this script is activated, it will connect itself to the animal, enable mode 4, ability 6. But before that happens, we need to go back into our player events. Unfold player, go down to here, And then I'm just gonna add this here. New script today. Run this event now. Okay. That's all we do. So we have the new input system, we have Malbers, and then we have this short script, a small API connecting those two without interfering or changing either of those. So it's like middleware if you want. Yeah, we forgot to place the camera, so let's just align with view. Everything is working, and I'm gonna hit P on the keyboard. See, we get the message, the animal is lying down. Perfect. That means the new input system is working for this function. If I hit forward, he will get up. We will get out of the mode by thanks to Malbers, because that's just how it works. I'm gonna take my game controller, I'm gonna hit the blue one. There we go. Ability executed. If I hit forward, it also works. And by default, it's, you can see it's also moving the mouse, which is quite annoying, but yes, it's working. Good. That's simple. Align with view. Hit save. So, quick recap. Empty scene, one of the animals, and this is also the point where if I wanted to use this, and I'm done with setting it up, so now I would save it as a prefab because everything is set up ready to use, right? We have our animal. We went in and looked at the animal class. We went to modes. We saw there's one called action where we can call different actions. It was called 4. We saw there was one called sleep, which was the ability number 6. We added the new input system, and it comes with this component called player input. Ignore the icon, that's because this project is completely messed up with so many different assets. I attached my own input setup, which also comes with the new input system, so you can just create your own, right? So you just, I think by default it's called, well, we can take a look. Default input actions. So the reason I don't use this is because it's placed in our packages and will be overwritten once in a while. And that's just, yeah. It's also just an example for you to get started. So really the best thing is to create your own. You can just copy the one, rename it to something else, and then run it. We changed the behavior from send messages to invoke Unity events, and then we created a small script and attached it to the new event we created down here, sleep. You can see it's empty now, but that's because I disconnected and reconnected. That's something you need to remember. If you take one of these off and put it back in, even though you did it by mistake, Unity disconnects the relationship between the event manager or the event system and the events you had in there. So you can see it's empty now. Luckily, because we just made a prefab, we can just revert all, and hopefully if I unfold, it's there again. Super simple. I hope it's something you could use going forward. Basically, you can use this for anything. And I would say also, these small scripts, make sure when you make them understandable. That's why I sometimes have so long names. It's, well, usually I would shorten it. A very long name is just for the video. But I make the scripts somehow understandable. So you see the title of the script, you have an idea of what it is. We can take a look quickly on the current game from Steam. So here we have collect item, collection manager, don't destroy and load, egg manager, keep component alive, load script, FX switch in water mode, seasonal events, quality settings, time override, face camera, volume control. Makes sense. And in the new version I'm doing kind of the same. It's a completely different setup for me, basically a new game, but I'm remaking the different classes and making the names understandable, because sometimes I need to go back in old projects or something and see, oh, how did I do this? And I'm not going to open Unity for that. I'm going to browse here and explore, and if the name makes sense, perfect. Then I'm golden. I don't need to open Unity to find the script and edit it. I hope that helped. Thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. Maybe comment some ideas what you would like some input on, and I'll let you know next time. Bye bye.